Another little review tonight, and this is another addition to my Rickson collection. So this is the M65 field jacket, ever growing collection here. I've got the N1 deck jacket, really super good for the winter, really nice. Got the Tropic Combat, which is really an overshirt, nice for layering, and then the classic M51 fishtail parka, classic sort of style, quadrophenia and so forth. But the M65, again, lovely jacket, features heavily in popular culture. We'll say a little bit about that in a minute. But again, I've picked up all these from Denomio, Japanese website, really good prices, no issue with international shipping, very easy, comes across in FedEx. 10% discount code below if you want to check them out. Yeah, really good service. So this is my small Rickson collection. The M65 is the newest addition. So just talking about the M65 and what that actually is. It's either called the M65 or the M1965, and that's down to its year of introduction. Introduced in 1965 to help the American Armed Services, mainly in Vietnam initially, replacing a couple of other old models, some dating back to the Second World War, so it had a couple of really useful upgrades for them. And really this is a jacket for cold, dry climates, so not waterproof. I think it might be shower resistant, but it is just a cotton sort of twill outer. It has got a bit of nylon in the liner, but really about sort of warmth in dry climates. Massive impact on civilian fashion. You know, this jacket is, you know, famous, more so than fishtail parka from Quadrophenia and so forth. Al Pacino wore the M65 in Serpico. Robert De Niro really famously wore it in Taxi Driver. Really super famous in popular culture. Lots of different brands have done their take on the M65 style. Some using much more modern fabrics than this, but Rickson's, as ever, do a really faithful reproduction. So we'll get into the details in a minute, but just before we do, just on the sizing, I took this in size small. With Rickson's, it seems to be a mix for me between mediums and smalls. So the N1 deck jacket is medium, the Tropic Combat overshirt, again medium, and the fishtail parka, which is really built large, that's a small as well. Now, I'm not entirely sure if I've quite got it right. I'll do some fit shots as we talk here. I could do with this maybe being a touch larger, so I'm 5'10", 5'11", about 75 kilos. I think this is about right, but actually if I wanted to layer this or wear the inner jacket, I think I could have done with maybe going with a medium, but maybe I'll get hold of one of those at some point and see if that's a better fit for me. But in terms of the actual measurements, on the chest, it's 22 inches across, so a 44-inch chest. The sleeve is 24.5 inches. Shoulder is 18. Overall length is 29.75, and the opening at the bottom there is 23. So really very similar sizing to the Tropic Combat overshirt, but maybe I could have done with sort of half an inch here and half an inch there, maybe on the sleeve, on the chest a little bit more. But you tell me in the comments, you tell me whether you think that's a good fit. Okay, well let's get in and look at some details. Coming for some close-ups here, some really interesting features on this jacket, some which you might need to help me out with in the comments. So we'll just start out looking at the front of the jacket here. Obviously you've got the hood zipped into the collar there, and we'll get into that in a minute. You've got a Velcro closure on the collar, a couple of button eyelets there, and we'll take a look at that when we open the coat up, but that's really to help connect the liner, the optional liner. Don't have that, but that's helpful for those cold climates which the jacket was designed for. Aluminium zip at the front there, nice big heavy olive drab pull there. The various leaflets you always get with Buzz Ricksons, we'll just do a cut-in of those. As I always say, generally in Japanese, so I'm left wondering what a lot of these tell me, but some nice little inclusions in there. Poppered storm flap at the front, and a button, which I'm a little bit at a loss as to what that button achieves. If you know, put it in the comments. There is just the single button, no other buttons anywhere on the front there, and no obvious reason to my eye. A couple of good sized chest pockets with a sort of bellows on them to give that extra capacity. Slightly strangely, the zip length comes down just really for me just above my waistline, so not as warm as it might be due to it not going down a little bit further. Does make me wonder about the historic reasons for having such a short zipper, and maybe whether indeed this is quite the right fit for me. Down at the bottom we've got some nice pockets with good strong cotton twill pocket bags on them. I'll just open up the inside there so you can see how that all fits together. So on the inside you've got a nylon and cotton liner, so the cotton forms the warp, and the weft going the opposite direction is nylon. Not quite sure on the exact historic reasons for that, whether it's about insulation or another reason, like waterproofing. If you know, let me know. Buttons throughout to allow that optional liner to connect. And then around the waist we've got a drawstring, so you can cinch it in and stop the wind blowing up. Interesting, on this jacket the drawstring eyelets are all stitched, so there's just a run of robust stitching around there rather than a metal eyelet. Not quite sure why. Little instructions for care. And then we get down to the bottom of the liner, which I think is quite interesting because the liner isn't attached, so it's just hanging loose at the bottom there, and then you can see the other side of the pocket bags. Again, reasons why that might be, if you can let me know, I'd be interested why that is designed in that way. And then at the bottom you have another drawstring, but the thing which interests me about that is it is asymmetrical, so on one side you've got it on the edge of the seam, on the opposite side it's set in. Now obviously that does make sense in terms of where the zipper enclosure closes, so that would be overlapping like that, but quite interesting to have that sort of asymmetrical feature. Flipping over, coming around to the back here, we'll take a proper look at that hood. So it's zipped into the collar, and one of the things which interested me about this is it looked like it had a really low profile, and that's because the collar, or the hood rather, just slips down in between the liner and the outer of the jacket, so it doesn't sort of need to be folded up into this collar piece, it just goes straight down the back, which I thought was interesting. And this feels, unlike the rest of the coat, it feels substantially like nylon, so I imagine that's either for windproofing or waterproofing. So there's a little single skin hood there, tuck it back in, and zip it up. A couple of epaulettes on the shoulders there, and then on the rear you've got some nice gusseted shoulder portions there to give you a bit more flexibility as you move your arms around. No venting under the sleeves. Really nice stitching throughout, obviously. You can see the line of the waist cinch there, and then down at the bottom finishes off as you might expect. So the last thing to look at is obviously the sleeve. I'll just flip it over again. The sleeve has got a couple of things of interest. The first I found interesting, at least, is the little cinches or sort of pulls of fabric there, just to give it a bit of shape, maybe a little bit of flex, just to get that sort of natural bend in the arm. You've got a Velcro cinch on the wrist there, and a little dart of fabric. Different fabric to the liner, so that's actually still two skins there, so nice and windproof. And the final thing of interest, except for this button for your liner, is on the wrist, and this does seem to be a little bit of a mystery on the internet. You've got this velcroed triangle of material that extends out the cuff, and I think conventional wisdom is that assists with windproofing on the matching pair of gloves, but there's no particularly obvious way of how that works, how it attaches to the glove, whether it tucks into the glove or goes over the glove. But interesting period accurate feature. If you know a bit more about that cuff detail, do let me know. But yeah, that's about it really. I hope you found that somewhat useful. Really lovely jacket, great brand of Rickson's. I'm really pleased to be building up a little collection there. Really good attention to detail, fit and finish, period accurate materials. Super interesting to me. Obviously, if you fancy one of these, I can only but recommend Denimio. That's where I get all my Buzz Rickson stuff. Really good company to deal with. Relatively small range of Buzz Rickson's products, but you know, they've got the key staple designs there. 10% off if you use the code below. And yeah, I hope that was helpful. If you haven't seen my channel before, please do check it out. Lots of heritage boots, Red Wings, Thorogoods, so forth. Quality denim, Japanese denim brands like Ironheart and Oni, Momotaro and so forth. And obviously bits and bobs of other interest to me. Bit of everyday carry, fountain pens, pen knives, torches, bit of cycling, running, bit of guitar. Do check it out. You might find that you share some other common interests with me. If you thought this video was useful, please give it a thumbs up. Of course, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Okay? Thank you very much. Bye-bye.